I was on an airplane the other day. There's a fella standing in front of me when we were all trying to get off of that darn airplane, and on the back of his sweater it said this: freedom, everybody wants it, few defend it. That was pretty cool. So I spoke to him later, of course. When we got out there, I couldn't hold it back, and I said, hey, are you in the military? And he said, of course I'm in the military. And this is such a true statement. Good for him. I want to share a little bureaucracy with you. If I share too much, of course, I'd never leave the stage. But here's a little thing that's kind of humorous. During the 1960s space race, that was mostly between US of A and good old Russia, don't you know, and NASA had a problem. Astronauts couldn't write in space, and back then, of course, there was no internet, and people wanted to write the astronauts. How do I write? My pen won't work up here. There's zero gravity, and what do I do? Well, this is a true story. I'm so old I even remember it. And then event NASA went to work on the problem, and several months later, and after $1.5 million of research, again, this is in 1960s dollars, so today that would be zillions. Hey, don't you know? They finally had the state-of-the-art pen that worked in zero gravity, performed in vacuum, could cope with a drastic temperature range and change. Everybody was so happy. You know what the Russians did? They used a pencil. Who would have thunk it? Average income in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada is $43,000. Okay, if you got that, now sit down, because here comes the housing. The average cost of a house that these people would live in is $2.5 million. Really? And most of the houses in Vancouver now, I don't know about most, certainly half of them are empty. What's going on here in communist China? 1% of those commies really are corrupt or not communist, one or the other, and they have a lot of dough, and so they come over here and buy houses for an escape, and they go into Vancouver. They push the market, you know, into stratosphere, because they say, hey, I got to have this house. In most cases, they board it up, so now there's no place for the regular people to live, right? All the poor little WASP guys. What's a WASP, you say? That'd be a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Hey, and now the Chinese are saying, hey, but this is my place and nobody can live there, and I won't even rent it to you. It's a problem. I mean, and most of them are putting their money into Canada on some kind of a program. The government, of course, because they're so smart, have said things like, bring in your money and we're going to give you a little passport. You can buy your way in. If you never come, that's okay. Hey, something's got to give here pretty soon. I hope there's some smarter people than the ones we already have. Those are the ones that have created the problem, the politicians. Somebody's got to fix this. Ottawa, Canada, selective abortion. It's such an interesting thing. In Canada, it's one of the only countries in the world, if not the only one, you can get an abortion a second before the baby's born, a second after. It's murder. A second before, that's okay, that's liberal, and they are in favor of all of that, you know. But now they're saying, they being a lot of the liberals who are in favor of abortion, are saying selective abortion ain't so good, because you find out if it's a boy or girl and you knock them off, right? I think we should maybe change that. Boy, you're on a slippery slope. How do you do that? That's kind of like saying it's okay to get killed, but as long as it's by hanging or by shooting. I mean, what's the difference? You're getting killed. Here's the same thing. Somebody's got to just wake up here as well, because that's a problem. Slippery, slippery slope. Boy, oh boy. France now, so many things. France has followed the lead of other countries in Europe, but in particular Canada, because they did this as well. They said, we got to protect the prostitutes in their sex trade, so we're going to make it illegal for the people, the Johns, to pay for the services, but we're going to make it illegal for a prostitute to be a prostitute. How do you kind of get there, right? I mean, so that's now what's happened in France, and these politicians are actually bragging about it. They're saying, look at us, we're so smart now. We have a law. Legally, you can be a prostitute. It's illegal to be a customer of a prostitute. Doesn't sound like a very thriving business if you're a prostitute, eh? Oh, they walk among us. You all come back tomorrow. We're going to have more for you from the right. Hey, see ya.